Well, you hear the music, you know the man is far behind. Big sigh, James Mennie, good afternoon.
How are you, Sue?
Well, I'm just dandy. Lots of news today. James is a reporter, columnist, and editor at the Montreal Gazette. We speak to him every day at this time. And what's on your mind? You're thinking
Well,
Billy Bishop and
oh, come on. I mean,
by-elections?
it's been such a roller coaster of developments. And as far as I'm concerned, raw political courage on the part of the Carney government when we see that we're all, I talked to you on Friday. Have a nice weekend, Sue. Yeah, you have a nice weekend, too. Everybody goes home. Meanwhile, as the crickets chirp at about 8:15 p.m., Federal Transport Minister Stephen McKinnon says, we're not going to pull the trigger on the expansion of the Billy Bishop Airport. We've heard from 80,000 Torontonians, and we think that for the time being, we'll just focus on the safety enhancements, and we'll see what's going to happen. Now, I know a lot of our listeners don't pay that much attention to Ontario news. The proposed expansion of Billy Bishop Airport has been just this side of, pitchforks and torches. And the idea, people were literally dancing in the streets on Saturday in Toronto saying this thing is not going to go through. But then you say, okay, well, perhaps they saw, they listened to the better angels of their nature. It's not really a good idea in this day and age, even with the rather spotty environmental record of the Carney government, to start, going around saying you're going to pay over stuff and extend runways and do whatever. But imagine that how you could have knocked me over with a wrecking ball, Sue, on Sunday when Prime Minister Carney calls not one, not two, but three by-elections. One in BC, one in Quebec here, and one in Ontario. Oh, did I say Ontario? I meant East Beaches in Toronto, which is, how can I put it, Billy Bishop Airport adjacent. and the thing is, you can see, and listen, my hat's off to him, okay? I mean, there seems to be this idea to turn Mark Carney, because thanks to his opposition to Trump, it's some kind of plaster saint. No, but I like him because he's a very pragmatic politician. Whether it's doing a take out the trash announcement about Billy Bishop Airport on a Friday afternoon. Did I say Friday afternoon? I meant Friday evening.
Yep.
And then following that up with a call for by-elections, which, quite frankly, I'd say he's got the inside track on all three. That in BC is a Liberal incumbent, we just mentioned, and once again, a Liberal incumbent in Toronto. And a Conservative who was called to the Senate by Mr. Carney himself in the area of Chicoutimi, where a recent poll tells us that the Bloc is only leading the federal Liberals, I think, by all of 2 points. The problem being, of course, that I think the sampling is 350 people. So if you and I went into a bar and decided to canvass the customers, you probably have pretty much the same level of accuracy.
Right.
But all that said, right, it's happening, it's there, and here we are on Monday, and it's basically what you call your basic fait accompli. By the way, they also mentioned that to run in Chicoutimi, they got the former head of the Dairy Marketing Board, which in Quebec, which is as close as you can come to being an aristocrat in Quebec, quite frankly. So you know what? I think they got the inside track on that one too. But it never ceases to amaze me how, even though he seems like a banker, okay, and maybe it's the people around him, maybe he's got good, but I don't know, Sue. I get the impression that this guy has got a very kind of serpentine kind of sense of cunning here, and honestly, he's been dancing around Trump. He's this weekend. I got to tell you, the bobbing and weaving, it's like watching professional boxing. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out at the end of August. Which even the Bloc is complaining. At the end of August, why are you having it at the end of August? Everyone's busy, doing summary things. And as I mentioned to you, I'll perhaps repeat for Mr. Blanchette, there's no downtime anymore, Monsieur. It's like everybody's on point 24/7 thanks to the interweb. So please, just campaign and hope that you win. But it is a fascinating exercise to watch, and it kind of makes you wonder, given that I'm not expecting another election for at least 3 years, that what other rather interesting rabbits will Mark Carney be pulling out of his hat between now and the next general vote?
Well, that's it. And he's assuring that we don't have an election for a while if he gets yet another seat, right?
Oh, yeah.
Out of it.
It's just going to be, icing on the cake. And if he fattens the margin of his majority, well, it's all fine. And there are people who say, well, this is ridiculous. The Canadian system, the prime minister can behave like a king, which is pretty much true. So it all depends on what kind of a king you've got. And I think a lot of people, though, and certainly from the reaction you've had from a lot of our listeners, no, do we like being ruled by a king? No, but Mark Carney seems, and I've said this repeatedly on air, Mark Carney seems to know what he's doing. And in these days, compared to what's happened south of the border, that's enough.
And speaking of acting like a king, I mean, that's what Donald Trump has been acting like, although he keeps getting, stepped up by that little really impractical thing called the judiciary. I mean, he is trying to change that, but yeah.
But Sue, and this isn't really on my list, but I got to tell you, it's more of an instinctual thing. And perhaps I spend too much time on social media. I don't. People realize it. I don't engage on social media. But, I mean, certainly X is a great source from newsrooms and politics. I get the impression, and I know it's been said before, that the ring is finally closing on Donald Trump, that things are reaching the point now, especially between Iran, the fact that his Great Save Act probably won't go through, that there may be a quiet mutiny going on the part of the Republican caucus, finally. You know what? We may be seeing some major changes in the dynamic of the U.S. political structure sooner rather than later. I don't want to, turn around and give you a date, but quite frankly, if you look at, Trump's even more than usual deranged postings, you really get the impression that perhaps things are heating up in the White House.
One can only dream, James.
Yep.
But speaking of politicians that seem to be courageous, let's look at Doug Ford. Some people call him Captain Canada.
Listen, I got to tell you, what's happening to Doug Ford right now, and it's happening all at once. And it's funny you mention that because it's kind of an echo of what I'm suspecting will happen to Donald Trump. Doug Ford, the bottom's dropping out. And the concern I have is, remember, we perceive outside of Ontario, he's Captain Canada, he's not taking any crap from Trump. Look at this guy go. And the fact is, Doug Ford he's polling lower than any Ontario premier ever. He got 24%. He's under fire for the response to the wildfires. He's under fire clearly because of Billy Bishop. He's under fire because of his attempt to get a private jet. He's under fire because members of his caucus apparently are given the green light. Hey, you want to stay in hotels? You want to run stuff up on your expense account? Yeah. No problemo. Okay? Listen, if this was a politician in Quebec, you and I would be wondering, how long it would take for people just basically to run the guy out of town or the woman out of town on a rail. But with Doug Ford, it's very interesting because remember, he played an interesting role not just at the provincial but at the federal level. There had been talk that maybe he might be a more viable replacement for the hapless Pierre Poilievre, head of the Conservative Party.
Oh, I've had people suggest that today. Let's vote for Doug Ford.
But here's the thing. With all this stuff, with all this erosion of his public persona, and I hate to say it, Sue, but 90% of politics is public persona. It ain't looking too good. He's down south right now, apparently fighting for Canadian interests with the U.S. to get ourselves a better deal. But for the longest time, he was, Canada's bad cop, vis-a-vis Carney's good cop. He was the guy that said, turn off the electricity, I don't care, everything's on the table, shut him down, block him out, let him freeze, whatever. And he was a crazy guy and had to be taken under control. But he was also reflecting a lot of frustration a lot of Canadians across the country feel. Yep. But now it'll be interesting to see how long that can be maintained, and indeed, if it's going to survive past this weekend.
All right. Well, we'll watch this space. James, always great to start the week with you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
The newest tracks. Let's go. New music. And the next big thing.
Always on the new music first.
Your first place to hear it all.
'Cause you gon' like it, love it, wanna play intertwined. Playing now.
iHeart New Music. Your digital station for brand new drops, fresh finds, and tomorrow's bangers.
I think we need something new.
Discover iHeart New Music. Always fresh, always first. Stream now on the free iHeartRadio